Have you ever heard of a man named Prudent? He was a widower who lived all alone with his little daughter in a grand, sprawling house. His wife had passed away just a few days after their daughter, Rosalie, was born. Prudent was a very wealthy man, and his large home was set in the middle of a beautiful, vast garden. This garden was Rosalie's entire world, her private kingdom where she could walk and dream whenever she pleased. Prudent adored his daughter and raised her with incredible tenderness and gentleness. But there was one rule he was very strict about: Rosalie had to obey him without question. He taught her never to ask useless questions or to insist on knowing things he didn't want to explain. He was trying to cure her of a fault he found quite common: curiosity. And with his constant care and watchfulness, he had almost succeeded. You see, Rosalie's world was confined to the park, which was enclosed by high, imposing walls. She never, ever left. The only person she ever saw was her father. It was a strange life. They had no servants in the house, yet everything seemed to happen by magic. Clothes, books, work, and toys, whatever Rosalie needed or wanted simply appeared. Her father was her only teacher, educating her himself on every subject. And so, as she approached her 15th birthday, this was the only life Rosalie had ever known. A life of quiet comfort and complete isolation, where the world outside the garden walls was a total mystery. She was never bored or lonely, because she didn't know anything different. Her father was her companion, her teacher, her entire universe. But for a girl of nearly 15, this sheltered existence couldn't last forever. In a quiet corner of the magnificent garden stood a small, mysterious building. This little house fascinated Rosalie. Unlike the grand mansion they lived in, this structure was simple, almost plain. Her father had strictly forbidden her from ever going near it. He never explained why, and because of her training, Rosalie never asked. For years, she obeyed, casting only fleeting, curious glances at the forbidden building from a distance. The little house was a silent puzzle in her otherwise predictable world. What secrets did it hold? Why was it the one place in her entire world that was completely off limits? The mystery of it tugged at her, a quiet, persistent question in the back of her mind. One day, while Prudent was busy in his study, Rosalie found herself walking closer to the little house than ever before. The temptation was overwhelming. Her heart pounded with a mix of fear and an exhilarating sense of rebellion. This wasn't just curiosity anymore, it was a deep, driving need to understand the one secret her father kept from her. She crept towards the door, her hands trembling. It was unlocked. Taking a deep breath, she pushed it open and stepped inside, crossing a threshold into a world she was never meant to see. Inside, the house was furnished simply but elegantly. It was clean and well kept, as if someone was expecting a visitor. On a small table, she saw a beautiful portrait of a woman. The woman had kind eyes and a warm smile, and looked strikingly like Rosalie herself. Next to the portrait was a small, leather-bound diary. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. The handwriting was delicate, and the words inside told a story of love, hope, and a secret she could never have imagined. It was her mother's diary. She learned that her mother hadn't died of an illness, but had been a magical being from another realm who had to return, leaving behind her husband and child. The little house was a sanctuary her father had built, a place filled with her mother's things, where he came to feel close to the wife he had lost. Tears streamed down Rosalie's face as she read. It was all there: her mother's love for her, the pain of leaving, and the hope that one day Rosalie would be old enough to understand. Suddenly, the door opened, and her father stood there. His face wasn't angry, but filled with a deep sadness. He had known she would come here eventually. He sat beside her, and for the first time, told her everything about the magical woman he had loved and the daughter she had left behind. The wall of secrets between them crumbled, replaced by a shared story of love and loss. Rosalie's world was no longer just the garden, it was infinitely larger, filled with the magic of her mother's memory and the depth of her father's love. From that day on, the little house was no longer a forbidden place, but a bridge that connected her to her past and her future. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this story with me. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales that open up new worlds. See you next time.